Hey everyone, my name is Dallas Waters, and I am so excited to introduce you to a new show called DP2A Today. We are a podcast, if you will, but I'd like to say we're more than just a podcast. But you judge for yourself. We're going to talk about a lot of different things on this show. We're going to talk about, as you see behind me, the Second Amendment. We're going to talk about other political issues out there that affect our country. We're going to talk to just a whole bunch of different people. We have a lot of different interviews lined up right now. Veterans, like myself, we have interviews lining up with physicians out there. People are just making an impact on the world. And I say that because these are people who maybe in their own mind, they just seem like an ordinary person. They're just out there doing their thing. They're doing what they believe they're called to do in some cases. We like to see them as people who are doing extraordinary things. People are making an impact on others. And we want to highlight that. Again, more than just a podcast, but let's have some fun with it too. And listen, if we're not going to have some fun with it, why are we going to do it in the first place? Anyway, this is the debut episode. Hope you enjoy what you're about to see. This is going to be a little uncomfortable for me, but hey, maybe for you, you'll love it. That's the goal, right? Hit subscribe, hit like, drop me a note. Let me know what you think. How we doing? We are live. This is actually the first interview for DP2A Today. And it's me.
And who was you?
Who is you? You're supposed to, but that's okay.
Okay, who he is? He is Dallas Walters, and he is the host of DP2A Today. Dallas, tell us, what is DP2A Today?
What DP2A Today? It's a show that basically highlights and focuses on the Second Amendment, because I believe defending and protecting that is critical to this country. Without the Second Amendment, the rest of the Constitution falls. But DP is the defend and protect portion of this, and it's not just defending and protecting your values. It's protecting your family, those around you. And so we just wanted to take some time, put a podcast together, bring some guests on, people who I think are ordinary people, maybe in their own minds, but they're doing extraordinary things than everybody else. And so that's the founding of it. And we're going to have a lot of guests that I think really highlight, honestly.
Okay. Very cool. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family, how long you've been married. Get the quick step.
For those of you who don't know, this is Kim Walters. This is my girl. We've been ride or die partners for 33 years now.
Long time.
33 years in April. There's married in April. And I don't say that with the cheap applause. I think every time you get to a milestone in this generation, it's huge, because obviously divorce rates are staggering, honestly. We've been married for quite a while. We have kids. They are 27 and 19, almost 27. Let's not bump that up too fast. Golly jeepers. Yeah, amazing kids. They're still kids though. So I'll probably call them kids. So they're 50 and 43 or whatever, around that long to call them that, but just great kids.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, maybe what high school you went to, etc.
I grew up not far from here. My early childhood was in Atlanta. I was born there. I spent the first 6-7 years there. We moved to Florida after that, to Jacksonville. Then I moved to Tampa when I was 11. I've been in the Central Florida area since I was 11 years old. So you can look at me on this camera and zoom in a little bit if you need to. You can realize I'm not young. So say it goes back to 11. We've been in this area for quite
a century.
Easy. Yeah. So I actually did went to high school and all that in the Carrollwood, Northdale area of Tampa. Graduated from Gaither High School. Gaither Cowboys, go Cowboys. They don't follow a lot of high school anything anymore, but It's still pride to that.
You moved around a lot as a kid.
A little bit, yeah. I did 9 schools from the time I was in kindergarten to high school. And those times where you go 2nd to 5th grade, then another school for 5th grade, and then 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th. You're like, God, I'm just happy to not change schools anymore. Because I got out of high school and everybody's happy about graduating. I was happy about graduating too, but I was like, now what?
Did you go to college after high school?
So I did shortly for a little bit, did the community college thing for a while. Listen, I had to do the intermediate algebra thing because I do so good in high school algebra. Joke's on them. I haven't used it since, but did that for a little bit. Actually, once I finished college, I had a degree of sorts. After that, using life experience, work experience, military experience, combined that with a couple of extra classes, and boom, you get a degree. And then I actually went and used a GI Bill to get I went to 4 years of college degree and did that in my 40s, which is, listen, if you've never gone to college in your 40s, I totally don't recommend that one. It's not quite, it's not, listen, they're all about the same size of me, so it's no elf or anything, but by the same
You felt
token,
like the old guy in class.
listen, everybody's looking at me like I'm Father Time. You know, I mean, what in the world is going on here? There was times I would be sitting in class, and it would be a class where high schoolers who got done with high school and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to college now." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." Like, I'm 2.5 times your age. Cool. Have a nice day. And I took a lot of IT security class, cybersecurity classes, and I had to learn quick in some of those classes to stop interrupting teacher. Because I had been on cyber for years by the time I was sitting in those classes, and they would sit there and they'd teach stuff, and I'd be like, "Hey, excuse me, we don't do that." And then you have to explain who we is, and we is me.
IRL.
Yeah.
In real life.
In real life. Yeah. Yeah. I've been on hiring panels and stuff and at work, and I'm now sitting there at college seeing the people I'm going to see at hiring panels later. I'm like, how outstanding is this, right?
You mentioned the military. How old were you when you joined the military, and in what capacity?
So when I actually signed, I was 20, and then by the time I actually went to basic training, I was 21 years old. I went as a reservist, wanted to keep the civilian career thing going. And I flirted with the idea of going active duty several times during that process, but then made jokes on me. I ended up having plenty of active tours after that.
So what year was that when you first joined and went to basic training?
So I went to basic in 93. All right, so they put a layer of dirt on the earth, then another layer, and then I went to basic training, and it goes back a little ways. And it was a very different kind of army back then. I remember, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was a very young 3 sitting there I was an admin guy when I first joined, and I was bored to tears. And I was sitting there, they were circling around the unit with a yellow note, one of those legal pads. And they come around to several of us. So, do we have any volunteers to maybe go to Bosnia? This is like 94, 95.
So you were already married at that point.
Yes, I was newly married.
So what did your wife think about that?
She probably would have been jumping up and down. I would have been, "Hey, look, baby, getting hazardous duty pay." Whatever. Hey, listen, back then, when you're young, that extra hazardous duty pay means something. It doesn't mean as much as you get older. But I saw it again. Yeah, sure, man. Put my name on the list. I made the mistake of going, all right, who's on there with me? Who am I going with? No, they turned the notepad on and my name going on the list. I was like, okay, all right, that's how we roll here. No, listen, that unit was really only 2 or 3 years from coming home from Desert Storm. There was a lot of people there. I'm not going back and right now, and I don't blame them. Looking back on it now, I had the career I've had. I don't blame them.
But you didn't actually go to Boston.
I mean, we were really like eighth on the list to start sending people other.
Was there something that inspired you to join the military, or maybe start with, for how many years did you serve? And then what inspired you to join the military in the first place?
I did 14 years. All of it was as a reservist, except for the deployments. When you deploy, you're an active duty soldier. There's just no other way to put that. I gotta say though, when I think back of what really moved the needle for me, to actually join. And I always thought the military was really cool. I grew up in a household where we appreciate and respected the military, but from a different political stance. I'm getting into that right now. So I had huge respect for the military. I thought it was really cool, but nothing made me go, yep, sign me up until one particular event happened. And I was sitting at a sociology class in college, and we had a couple of Kuwaiti students there. And what a lot of people don't know about the Kuwaiti population is they pay their kids when they get to college age to travel wherever they want to go to college, as long as they want to come back to Kuwait and use those skills. The part about that is most of them come back, they don't use those skills. They're generations deep in wealth from getting paid by the government. They didn't know that at the time. But we knew we had 2 Kuwaiti citizens students in our class. And I get there early one day, we're all joking around, goofing off or whatever. And I see them over there, and this is right as Desert Storm kicks off. Now, for those of you who don't know, by the time Desert Storm kicked off, the Kuwaiti citizens have been brutalized by Saddam Hussein. They rolled their armies in there, and they were torturing not the military, not the police, yes, all of them too, but the actual citizen.
Oh, wow.
And those 2 kids were sitting in my class, and I'm going, and I said, wait a minute, you guys are from Kuwait, right? And they both said, yeah. Why are you here? Government pays us to go to school. I get that. We talked about that. Why are you here right now? Because I've got friends over there trying to liberate your country, and you're sitting here. And they sat there in silence, and they started trying to defend it. And some others were like, hey, listen, like, you guys aren't going to be able to talk your way out of this one because it's got a point. That moment was critical for me because at that point, I was like, never, ever will I be want to stand up for my country. I said, look, I could be taking cooking classes in France, which I would never qualify for a school in France to cook. Just an example. And if I found out that, hey, the Mexican military rose up and decided to invade our country, I'm going home. You know? At that time, I didn't have any gear, but I'd grab something and let's do what we got to do. It was a pivotal moment for me to say, look, I love my country enough to be ready to defend it. And I said, all right. It was only like 2 weeks later when you and I were talking, and I said, I want to join. And it was like, hey, in your college, mom, work. I didn't use my GI Bill until 2017. It was 2016. The college money was cool to have as a pot. They gave you signing bonus and stuff like that. But my thing was, listen, we get to wear that flag on my right shoulder, and I'm all about it.
Okay. We'll come back. We'll come back to you being a reservist and your military career. But because of reservists, they only do 1 weekend a month. Is that right?
That's what they say.
one weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. That's like the standard.
That's the selling fee. That's the company line, so to speak. Kids, if you're watching, it's more than one week in a month all the times, and it's definitely more than 2 weeks.
Okay. So because we'll just call that such little time, you obviously had another career as a civilian, we'll say. Tell me a little bit about what you did for your career or for your job. Maybe like where you were as a career when you first joined or
I
something.
was bouncing around odd jobs. I call them odd jobs. I was working in a warehouse for a while. I was doing pretty well there. I was doing a good job. I had a very senior person that was over me that he'd call you down there to yell at you like once a month. And if he didn't, then you weren't doing a very good job. I'm like, I don't understand corporate America, apparently. That's where my military career started, when I was doing that kind of stuff. The funny thing is, I decided to get out of the reserves because, again, I was just bored. I was an admin guy, and it just wasn't suiting me. It was more agony to go to that 1 week in a month than it was to say, hey, it's worth the $150 I was getting for days of work.
So how long were you doing that 1 week? Or how long were you a reservist when you got out?
I did 6 years. 6 years. The cool overlap there is during that 2 weeks a year part, and I think it was in 97. Maybe it was 98. Yeah, 98. I was already started going, okay, I'm getting out. But I did one of those 2-week training operations. And there was a captain, and I wish I could remember his name. He sent me on the path I'm on now. And he started talking to me and another guy that was there about, hey, look, you guys seem pretty tech savvy. You ever thought about doing Microsoft certification? clearance. It was like, I didn't know that was a thing. What's a Microsoft certification? He explained to us what an MCSE was, Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. And it just, man, the way he had rolled off his tongue, it sounded like the most beautiful. Like, wow, I can be one. And then $7,500 and like enormous amount of time later, I are one. That's the way it played out. Because a little bit about me on that. Yeah, I'm tech savvy, but I'm not. I've got friends that can pick up a 3-page pamphlet and get certified in 30 minutes. Me, I have to work harder at it because it's just the way it is. But I'm willing to do that. He actually set me on that course to get me where I'm at today, and that was. By the time I got certified, that's basically what I've been doing ever since. I switched from that in that same warehouse. I was able to transition from working in the warehouse to working a nice collar job. You wear some slacks every day, going. He said, there you answer people's mouse problems. My mouse is broken, stuff like that.
So you guys start somewhere. So you started on the help desk.
Absolutely. Level 2. That was level 2. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but and all that really meant was I'm not doing a lot of, hey, my mouse is broken stuff. I was actually doing some pretty intense stuff right off the bat. Carry that MCSC, they expect stuff out of you. It's almost like college, though. All the stuff they teach you on that isn't what's being done IRL. I used. Oh, man, I learned about IRL.
And you're what?
I thought it was the Indy Racing League, but hey, you, right? So, yeah, I was doing a lot of troubleshooting type stuff, photo support, things like that. I was literally sitting at a computer at 11:59 p.m. on December 31st, 1999. I worked the Y2K thing.
Oh yeah, that's when we were going into the year 2000, and the whole world thought it was going to come to a stop, or come to an end, or come to. We didn't think we were going to be able to go into the year 2000 because all the computers up to that point only knew the 1900.
Funny thing is, it's my first dose of reality in this world of IT and cyber and all that, where we know more than what the general public has an idea about. And I was just telling the story. I think it was on to my son now, maybe a week ago. We started working on this in 1995. We're way ahead of the game at fixing this stuff. I remember even ESPN had commercials when the ball hit. Their studios are going crazy. Mark McGuire's out there banging on the keyboard with a bat, just chaos. And, oh, this is hysterical. So there it was, and they're running reports and whatever, and ball drops, and hey, Happy New Year. And I'm getting calls from the company president's son, who's also the company president. That was weird. So I'm like, hey, guys, how's it going? I'm like, well, other than the fact the company president of an $800 million company knows my name, going all right. It's pretty great.
We're still alive.
Yeah. It's really like, hey, nothing blew up. Nothing blew up. It's great. So that's where it kicked off. Yeah.
Okay. And so some of the other places you worked at Setcom. Tell us a little bit about that. What time frame was that? And
so that was 2005 to 2008. And the funniest thing is that the job I had before that was very anti my reserve duties. Because I'd gotten back in. I got out of the reserves. I got back in the reserves. I called the recruiter on September 10th, 2001. So I want to get back in. Okay. I'm sure we'll cover that later. But I had gotten back in, and the company I was working for at the time was not super happy about that. And, as you're starting to move up the ranks and pretty much any branch of the military, you got to go to different schools and whatever. And they literally put on one of my reviews, the quality of the projects you get will be a direct reflection of how much military training you take on. In other words, we hate the fact that you have to leave and do.
They weren't.
They were not pro.
But this is not CENTCOM.
Yeah. And that's what led me to CENTCOM. Because, listen, I believe in a big God. And when he wants to take you somewhere better and help you get where you're more appreciated, it can happen.
And so for anybody who doesn't know, CENTCOM is
it stands for Central Command. It's basically the Joint Command. It's on the base. Okay. It's on MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, but it's short for Central Command. It's a joint command. It's a 4-star post. So there's always a 4-star, either admiral or general rolling around there. But they are the ones that oversee everything from Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi, that area there, down to the Horn of Africa, which now known as Africa, which wasn't really a thing, I don't think, when I was there. But I literally got I was pretty bummed about how the review went at the other job. And I literally got an email out of the blue, totally out of the blue. Hey, have you ever thought about working a job at Sitcom? Not until just now, but I'm thinking, okay, if I start working there and they're not respectful of my reserve service, then it's just not meant to be.
Let's back up just a little bit. So you said you worked at CENTCOM from what year?
2005 to 2008.
Okay, so right before that, then you would have had your first deployment as a reservist.
Yeah, actually, a good point. So at that job, I did appreciate that. I was gone.
You were deployed from that job.
Yeah. They were like, oh, we're so happy you're back and all stuff. But I started that job in February. I literally left for MP school. And I'm just oopsie doodle, classified from the admin to becoming a combat support MP, which is definitely
A little bit about that, because as your wife, I recall this day that you said you wanted to get back into the military, and I was fully supportive of that. We talked about how you wanted to increase your cybersecurity role as a civilian, and you could do that through the military as a reserve. I went to sign back up. I recall us having a conversation about your MOS that you would pick. It would be somewhere along the lines of something that would boost your career as a cybersecurity computer systems engineer type situation. What happens when you came back from joining up for the second time?
This is that moment where your wife digs a hole for you and you're told to go walk into it. So here we go. So yeah, and I'm going to compliment you on this. This is something that I will never forget this moment. At the time when I was really thinking about doing this, I was working at a teaching job. I was teaching in a small college, teaching IT stuff all the way up to enterprise level, and I excelled at it. I loved it. But man, nothing says you're broke having students leave your class and go get a job making 15, 20 grand more than you are. So I was like, okay, I need to boost my resume somehow here. And IT classes aren't cheap. So I was looking at what about the Army again? Maybe I could do that, reclassify into something IT related, get some more training. They'll pay me for it. I don't have to pay for it. Genius.
And so this would have been,
you
would have signed out second time, and he's going to tell you what he came home, what his MO. Well, that would have been September the 10th.
I started the pull process at the beginning of that year. So it was probably middle of the year, right? No. We actually started talking about it in September. So yeah, we started talking about September of 2001.
Yeah, you would have already been talking to a recruiter, because when you actually got back in, it was September 10th of 2001.
Yeah. No, so I did call the recruiter and say I went back in on September 10th.
Okay, so that's when you called the recruiter. Okay, so we called the recruiter on September the 10th, 2001, and probably everybody knows what happened on September the 11th of 2001. That's when our country changed. Literally horrific terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers.
And I think that changed a lot of people's lives in the end.
Yeah. It's just ironic maybe, or I'm not really sure what the word is, that it was literally like the day before, something in his spirit said, you get back in the military, and literally the next day the world changed.
And the thing is, I didn't call the recruiter on September 11th. It's like, oh my God, I see it. We were all pretty much glued to our TVs, obviously. But the very next day, and they canceled our classes because we had morning into afternoon classes, and at that time we had night classes as well. They told us, look, all classes are canceled for the rest of the day. Just go along and figure it out. So the very next day, I'm coming into class, and everybody's still shaking. You can see we had students that were from New York who were like really having a tough time with it. So I just, hey, let's ease into this. Yeah, we'll talk about whatever. And during the break, I called the recruiter back. I said, I saw it. I was like everybody else, I saw it. I went in. He goes, you need to get in here now because there's about 300 phone calls in the last 2 hours alone. Roger that. But I had to take the ad of that again.
People wanting to go on because they saw what happened on September 11th. That's awesome.
And it is awesome. When I finally got to the rank that I finished at, I looked at a lot of people that we were serving with at the time and went, some of these people are probably some of those 200, and wow, I really wish they had a call. Yeah, I'm just being honest. I know I'm not supposed to be that honest, but a lot of my friends who are going to watch this are going to go, I know some people he's talking about. This is it's whatever. You can't change that. But here's the thing, though. Whether I think they should have or not, I appreciate the fact they wanted to. I can respect that. They had that same spirit of them that I had back in 1991, when I first wanted to get back in.
So the recruiter
Or
says,
the first time, sorry.
okay, so the recruiter says, get back in here immediately. So you go and you sign up.
Kind of.
Not as a computer person. No.
So it's funny, like she went with me to MEPS when I went to the first time, military entrance processing station. So everybody's there to join the military knows about MEPS. They have MEPS stories, and they are generally about 85% of the time hilarious. They are hilarious. I ain't going to do it here, but they're hilarious. She didn't go with me a second time. So the first time, as soon as I walked in, we're both sitting there looking at the MOS is available. Well, it's right there. But the second time, I met the recruiter at 5 a.m., went on in there, and I had to pass the code 1 test, which was a challenge for me. Still would be right now. Don't ask me what code these microphones are. I don't do it.
You would probably say they're orange, and maybe they look orange on the screen, but they're.
I would have guessed for that, actually. Good. And it's always a guess. Don't act like
totally.
I'm guessing your shirt white. So I go in there, and I didn't even get in the door, and the recruiter, hey, listen, I know we talked about some different MOSs, but we really need MPs right now. No. That's got to be some good foreshadowing for an upcoming interview we have already set up, ready to go. But I wanted to be an MP when I went the first time. I tested colorblind. Funny thing is, they want their MPs to know the difference between red and green. It's weird. I don't understand it. So I didn't make it. And I'm like, okay, here's the funny thing about this. I've been training myself to be able to see these colors because they also want their IT guys to be able to know the difference between red and green. So I had to pass it either way. And as soon as I got this way, went through these colorblindness cards about 800 miles an hour, and it's not even good. Okay, I'm good. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I know a red line and a green line. That's as far as I needed that to go. We get to the point where they're like, hey, you're good to go. My ASVAB scores were, I've literally taken the ASVAB 3 times. I don't know how many people can say that. I don't recommend it.
He's smart.
And long story there, but my GT scores kept going up each time. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And I took it 3 times just because every time when I went to sign up for something, it would be more than 3 years old. That's the threshold. If it's more than 3 years, you got to take it again. I sit down there and I'm like, nah, your ASVAB scores are good. Everything checks out. You're medically not. No issues there. Yeah. What do you want to do? I'm looking at the list score. Oh, he's right. There's 50 slots for MPs here. I'm like, I wanted to be an MP. And that would mean at that point, literally, you could have taken the coolest IT job from the Army, put it right in front of me, and all I saw was MP. And I was like, I'll take it.
Fast forward to when you get home and you tell your wonderful, lovely, super fabulous, fantastic wife.
Yeah, because even back then, we didn't each have a cell phone. So I had to wait till we had one cell phone, which one does.
We have one, yeah. Like I say, by this time, we already had our daughter. She was very young.
Yeah. So I told her, I said, listen, I chose to, she goes, which one did you take? And we had 4 or 5 we were looking at. I said, I'm going to be an MP. And she looks down at the list like, that's not on there. So that's there for multi-processing either. And I said, your brother was one. It's really why I wanted to be one. I thought it was really cool. I wanted to do it. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit though. When I said, hey, look, I think that me going back in the Army would be a really good idea for us, for me to boost my career. But when I went through all that, I wholeheartedly meant that. First off, that was the plan. But I want to give you some credit though, because again, the part that I'll never forget is I called you at work because I had the one cell phone. I always said, hey, I need to talk to Tim Walters. It's an emergency. And they were like, oh my God, this guy has an emergency like every 6 minutes. It's cool all the time. But we're talking, I tell you about this, and you're like, look, if you feel like that's the best thing for our family, me and Michaela, our daughter, we will support you. I'm like, you know what? That says something because she knows what it's like. First, her brother had been in probably 10 years at that point. Maybe
He had
more.
already been to the Desert Storm.
So she knew she knew the deployment. She knew gotta go away for training. She knew about this stuff. We were about to be married when I went to basic in the AIT. Actually, we got married less than 2 months. Yeah, it wasn't 2 months after getting home. She knew about all that. For her to say, yeah, let's roll again. It speaks volumes to who you are. But it also says something about you as an American because you knew that's where my heart was. And it's about boosting the resume. It's also, again, that flag stands for something. I think a lot of us need to stand for it, but I'll never forget that and I'll always appreciate it.
Oh. You're welcome. But let's talk about your first deployment. It was 2003, and we had just invaded.
So I was actually,
And by we, you know,
yeah, hey, one team, right? The fifth branch of the military used to be like the military spouse, and then they came on the Space Force, and then
it was Afghanistan, right?
so we invaded Afghanistan in 2002, late 2001, early 2002.
Oh, okay.
We invaded Iraq in March of 2003. My unit had just gotten to Fort Stewart, Georgia. We were going through workup, go through your training briefings. Here's what your mission is going to be, medical, all that stuff. So we were there watching with TV as the invasion started. And we're about to go over.
Before we get into that deployment, what was it like about to be deployed to another country with a wife and a young child at home? What was your mindset with that?
Okay, and keep in mind, I had just finished MP school, and so they build you up with all the raw stuff. And so you're like, hey, let's go use this stuff. Let's go use this training. And so especially someone in my situation, you're completely torn and conflicted. I love this woman immensely. I love my little girl. Okay, she's going to be 27 this year. She'll always be my little girl. There was that point where it was like, hey, guys, don't leave me behind too when they're going to deploy. So it's a lot of internal conflict. It's a lot of torment because, hey, I need to be there. I need to be with these soldiers who are going over because I am one. Don't leave me behind. And then he gets separated. And I've done 2 of these deployments. We'll cover the other one. But every single time every soldier with a family will have those moments when they get there and they're like, wow, I'm starting to feel homesick and this ain't ending anytime soon. You can't just go, look, we've been here a few weeks. I'm ready. Got nobody there. Like a mother, like, it's extremely difficult. And for us, we got stuck at Fort Stewart for a while. We were there for 2 months. And we got to see what's going on. We were there for 2 months and we got to keep going home on some weekend passes to see our family. No if we had to go right back. And we had to talk. I remember that. Hey, this is hard for us. Every time you come home and then you got to turn around and leave again. And it's over and over after a while. Because we were done with our work up after 3 weeks. And they're just like, letting us hang out. And so finally, I think some of our leadership said, send us home. And
Wow.
I go, yeah, Brian, do it for a week later. Boy, it is hot here. I really want to do this. So yeah, it was incredibly difficult. And it gets even more difficult when you get over there because now you really know there's no turn back. I got a bunch, knows Mike quite well. The minute we landed in Kuwait, it was dusk, dark. We get off the plane, and there's 2 things that you notice first. First off, you notice even though it's dark, it's still brutally hot. We got there until we flew out on my birthday in May. Happy 30th birthday to you, pal. You getting on a plane ride to nowhere. You know, it's incredibly hot. Number 2, it stinks to high heaven. It smells like someone let the porta-john open all night, and that's what it ended up. The third thing you notice is there's nothing we can do. This is it. We're here. And I'll never forget Mike looking back at me like, probably threw some expletives out there. We're in Kuwait right now.
And so your first deployment was to Kuwait.
Especially if you're going to Iraq, you're going to Kuwait anyway. Everybody kind of lands there's like a staging area. I ended up stuck there. I covered the entire country from the Iraq border. I spent some time up there right at the border, all the way down to me and my driver blew through a checkpoint, went in Saudi Arabia for about 38 seconds until the AKs were pointed and like, we should probably just turn and go back. international incidents are with thing. So yeah, we were in Kuwait the entire time as a unit. We had some people that kind of moved into Iraq for a little bit. That was not me. That was not my mission.
So what did you do when you were in Kuwait? What was your job? What were you told to cover? I remember you would tell stories about he was told to blend in.
Look at this. Yeah. Blend that. I would need the worst hand ever for me to blend into Kuwait.
And you would patrol the malls and stuff?
So there was a lot of things I did. That admin MOS I had years earlier, they're like, hey, we're going to leverage that. We're going to make you work that. Because we didn't, at the time, they didn't really have an MP slot available for me, but they're like, we still want you to go with us. So that's how they made that happen. I was doing that at first. I'm an admin sergeant. I got promoted on my birthday too. So I had my birthday, got promoted to E5. It was just
landed in a new country.
Landed in a new country. Boom, there you go. I mean, the Army has no clue about getting president. It's terrible.
No, terrible.
Here's a round trip ticket.
What? That's for this.
So I saw it. Their ugly green bow on it. So that was how it started. And then my command, or my, what we call an S3 sergeant major, came around and was like, we have a different mission for you in a way. Sign me up, because this one's starting to feel like those weekend drills like you say so much. And I worked with great people. That was a great group of NCOs I worked with. And the major sergeant boy, and he was the best NCO I've ever worked for, and it's not close. No offense to anybody else, but she just had to know him. When he comes up and says, I got another mission for you, it's, yes, Sergeant Major, and it really doesn't matter. I don't know that I would have cared. And he's like, listen, you're going to do what's called MWR security. MWR stands for morale, welfare, and recreation. So what they were doing is they were taking troops who were in, we'll say Iraq, affectionately. Some of these people look like they spent time with other men, and then they decided, hey, we're going to also go down to Kuwait. Have some time out in the town. My job was, me and another soldier, we would be in what we call an NTV, or non-tactical vehicle, or SUV for the English-speaking types. And we would go out to these sites where they had 5 or 6 sites in Kuwait where these soldiers, service members could go and relax and whatever. And we pulled security on that. Funniest part about that to me was it went from that to being a mission where we're communicating what's called the J2 of the intel section, where they're saying, hey, we need to do counter intel basically. You need to take pictures of some dudes, because the reason you're doing security out there is because there's foreign intelligence services. So there's foreign intelligence services who are having intel on our people and sending it to the highest bidder to see if he wants to take shots at our people.
Is this information okay to say? Because I know at this point you probably had a secret clearing.
Yeah, this is fine now. My mission's been done for quite a bit. So yeah, there might be a few things I can throw out there, but I believe some of the foreign intelligence sources were, really get into that one too much. But we go into briefings with them, and it's everything you would think it was. There's very few things I've done where it's, the movies and TV make it look just like this. So it's just like you sit in these briefing rooms, and it's okay, you go looking for this guy, looking for this guy, looking for this guy. You get really good at taking pictures of people without them knowing. I had to use our own cameras and stuff, which was like hilarious all by itself, which actually makes sense. You want it to look natural. But there were times where you would sit there, and I remember it's probably 2005. I'd been back for a little bit. You and I are riding around in my car, and this kind of came up in conversation. And I said, look, they've told us of the 7, you can bet 5 of them have files on every one of you. There was like 11.
Not what I thought you were going to say.
There was any given time, 11 people on this mission, like every one of you, especially the ones that have been since day 1, which is me, they've got a file on you, and they'll keep it forever. I was like, that's super duper.
I would tell them how we were running around in the car, and I was like, is your car bugged?
So you're not sitting out there 3 times. I'm like, no. So one time I did that, I don't think so. And you're like, what do you mean I don't think so? And I'm like, oh boy, it's not choose your words wisely, buddy. There was the interesting element that mission would get kind of 2 times. And basically walking around the mall, making sure people aren't being followed. Outstanding. You would go out there and you'd see people, and some of our troops in uniform out there, which is a no-go. You had to go out there in civilian attire. Even if you're on one of these little trips where it had to be in civilian attire, it had to be in approved and checked over or whatever. There's certain things I had to do. And gosh, for me, the idea of a good day out there is when we would come across like a lieutenant colonel from the Air Force. He's out there with 5 guys, and he's supposed to be out there because he was an approval process. And they said, we're going to skip it And he tried to dress me and my partner down out there. He just tried to get into our stuff. And we're like, listen, this is my battle space, not yours. If I'm an 05, I'm going to go check her. I don't really care. And you can flex like that when you're on that kind of mission. When you get back in uniform, you're like, yes, sir. I got called in my colonel's office and he says, hey, did you meet Lieutenant Colonel whoever today? And I said, yes, sir. Because we called to yell at me about you guys being disrespectful to him. I said, we weren't as disrespectful as we were just telling him the truth. And he says, do you think that was the right idea? If a person can't handle the truth, I don't think it's disrespectful. That's just you can't handle the truth. This colonel started laughing.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, this colonel started cracking up because
You knew I was going to.
yeah, absolutely. That's that ball right there on the tee. So this colonel starts laughing and he goes, I'm okay with this. He said, let me tell you what just happened though. He starts trying to tell me what happened. And I said, okay, so first off, you're telling me your version of the truth. He goes, it is the truth. They said, okay, you're still wrong. Everything you tell me, if everything you tell me is the exact truth, you're still the one in the wrong. And my guys did the right thing. And I think we're done talking. And so then 06 called my colonel up and said, hey, I'll take care of it. This is great.
Make it disappear.
It's fine. This guy, he might be an 04 before the day is over. He's going. He's certain those things like that. There was always something like going on up there. And it was the hardest part about deployments is the political game, the backbiting, the everybody wanting to break each other down. Like, listen, do you understand? And it's out on both points. Do you understand? They have taken us from our family, from our careers, from our home life, and put us in a godforsaken part of the world where it's, in a lot of cases it's dangerous, in a lot of cases it's stressful, and now you want to turn this into a gossip hour. You want to turn this into, hey, let me see if I can railroad this person. We had a pretty decent group that stuck together. Our section was S3, and our section was as tight a team as I could have hoped for. A couple of moments in there, I'm like, you might be playing outside the lines of our section here, but it started me to that right the topic where I was talking to you on the phone, and he said, Sergeant, I need to get on the phone. It's official business. And he ran me out of there. And when I came out of there, it's a female soldier she was in charge of me when I first got there. We're done. I'm like, but Sergeant said it was an official business call. She walks over and listens because her tent walls. You can hear everything. She stands there and listens for a bit. She goes, it's not official business. He's talking to his wife. She walks over and unhooks the phone cable. And I went, this is how active. She was more active duty, so she was like, I don't care. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so getting shot here. This command sergeant was huge. He was like 6'4", like 300 pounds. Oh, okay. He didn't have a lot of guts. I found that later. He wasn't very courageous, kind of 300 pounds. But it was just the kind of stuff that went on, though. We had each other's back. But why did we always constantly have to have each other's back? From what? From our own people? And again, that was first taste of it. It wasn't the last by a mile. Like I always tell people, listen, because people change when they go on deployment. No, they don't. The taste of what they're really like back home, because you only see them for 2 days a month. You worked with them 5 days a week. They'd probably do this to you there too. You know, I mean, this corporate America just in a weird uniform, pretty weird uniform.
Maybe tell us a story if you can, or if you can remember something that was like pretty scary situation, and then maybe one that had you laughing. So like,
okay, so from the first one,
because
there's more funny ones and scary ones than the second one. But for the first one, the scariest moment we had, it was stuff like, they would say, okay, don't cross this through there because people over there don't like us. And they're like, we would think, I'm maybe kidding. And they're like, so we cross the street and gunshots would come out, and you're like, oh my God, there's not like you, and then there's I want to you.
and this is in Kuwait.
This is in Kuwait. I got shot in more in Kuwait than in Iraq. It's odd. But I think the scariest one was, we probably weren't even being shot at, but it was just a moment where this is chaos. In the battle space, chaos is fear. It's what creates the most fear, because you're working with guys, where do we need to rally at? If there's not proper communication, chaos comes out, chaos creates fear. That's why good communication, good planning is what prevents chaos. Now that you had that lesson. Ramadan. Ramadan's a very interesting time over there. And listen, anyone who's Muslim out there that hears us, I apologize if this is bad, but I don't know how it works because it's always a different time of year. When we were over there, it was, I want to say October time frame. What they do is this might offend people, okay, whatever. They fast during the day. When the sun's up, they can't eat, drink, smoke, or whatever. I say fast like that because they just go, okay, we're just going to change our schedule. We're going to sleep all day and we're going to wake up at night. You're not like fasting, you're sleeping. There's a difference. Just that's an opinion. But they started switching our mission to night mission for a while. I go, let's just keep the mission going, but take you guys out at night because we couldn't take them out during the day. Nothing was open, nothing was going on. We actually had to go out during non-mission hours during the day when we were trying to rescue one of our soldiers who got apprehended by the Kuwaiti Ministry of Interior. That's what they call their police force. Because he was hanging out in Kuwait when he wasn't supposed to be, drinking a soft drink. And they apprehended him like, hey, can't do that. Can't be drinking. Here's the soft drink. He said, we don't care. This
So
color.
you guys had to follow Ramadan too, even though it wasn't your.
We had to.
So the whole country has to follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, we would flex authority with the Kuwaiti police. There was any number of times where they would try and do something. And you're like, you don't carry a gun. You're a police force, but you don't carry a gun. So here's what I'm going to do. And we go, listen, we'll take care of this internally. We'll take our guy. We'll go home and we'll punish them properly. But the scariest part was when we went on a mission on Ramadan one day and one of our guys goes, hey, well, from our mission, one of our fellow MPs says, I'm out of here. Gonna find out I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it this way, he was hooking up with one of the females that worked at the lunch or at our, what we call a DFAC dining facility. Because it was all people we bring in from around other countries that want to work there. And she was a foreign national that worked at our DFAC, and he said, I like her, and he started a relationship with her at the DFAC. He had made a plan one day when we were going out that he was going to leave. And guess who else didn't get that plan? All of us. We're all going, where's Sergeant? I'll just say them, I don't care. He started as an E6. Yeah, he started as an E6, finished as an E5. That's the quickest way to get your E5 when you're deployed. But we started going again. Now it's chaos. Where's my guy? Where are we supposed to meet at? Does he know a rally point? Maybe he's there. Then, in true Middle Eastern fashion, Ramadan's a celebration. And I don't understand it. I don't know about it. I still respect it. It's a celebration. It's something that they really embrace. And it's for 30 days. God bless you. Wow, that's a real celebration. That's a party. Unfortunately, in the Middle East, when they party, a lot of times AK-47 rounds go in the air. No, say the AK, ching, 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 ching. Foot goes up, must come down, right? We hear the gunshots going off, and we're going, I don't know how to tell someone, hey, duck, get down. Get down where? We don't know where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much chaos going around, there's people around us this day. She'll tell you, I am not a crowd guy. You can't put me in a crowd and have me going, how do I feel comfortable here? I just want out. And there was a crowd around us. Again, shots went off, and they're probably just shooting in the air, but we don't know that. And you can't assume that. We're this. Maybe we crossed the road the wrong place. I don't know. It was a little scary. Someone at the E7 level made a brilliant decision. So listen, we have round up this NCO later and figured out what happened, but we need to get our guys out. Which to be honest, that's the kind of bold decisions that a lot of NCOs have to make. And it was bold, but it was the right one. And it probably scared him for a little bit because, hey, now I just called it all the guys and there's like no one behind, but leaving no one behind is a little different when the guy doesn't want to be found. We didn't know that. At that point, we didn't really know that's what was going on yet, but he also knew that the longer we stayed out there, the worse the situation was getting. And it was the right call. And so we didn't find out until probably a day and a half later. He just came rolling by. He rolled up to come and ride with her or whatever. Hey, bring me on back to base. Let me see what's going on. He came walking in our tent like, Now, understand, we were pissed because him making that decision put us in a terrible situation. It's not the Bo Bergdahl situation, for those of you who know about that guy, where people end up dying trying to find the guy, but could it have been that way? Yeah, I suppose it could have. Even the guys just in the air, what comes up goes down. We were on something close. It's not like I had to kill our helmet or anything.
We had some scary moments out there for sure.
There were times where he was going,
even though the battles were happening in Kuwait, you still don't.
and a lot of times when I go up to the border, I go, okay, here's where a lot of our problems are. We're trying to prevent the Iraqis from coming in and infiltrating into Kuwait, because they might be good people just trying to get away from all the invasion. We don't know.
Yeah.
Even some of that, and you're going up there and you're going,
it's like you see those videos where they're like a vehicle coming in to a checkpoint and they're yelling stop, but they're not stopping. You don't know, is it because they don't understand what we're saying, or do they have good intentions? Do they have bad intention?
Yeah. And you have to trust interpreters at times. And we didn't really have an interpreter with us. And then one thing, the guy who they actually put in charge of leading the mission I was on, that I spent most of the time on that, I was the IT guy for the, so they found out I was a civilian, the IT guy. Well, you're our IT guy now. So, lucky me, show up an hour earlier and leave an hour later. That's awesome.
Computers and printers and a lot of sand.
In floppy disks. We're still using floppy disks back then.
No way.
It's like, hey, our floppy disks aren't working. Yeah, I know. The sand thing. Yeah. So I actually led a mission taking a bunch of officers out into the Kuwaiti markets to buy thumb drives. The first thumb drives that were ever in the Kuwaiti market, we were buying them.
Wow.
32 megs of thumb. Looking. Yeah, it was vastly different time thinking back to those days. But
what kind of vehicles did you see on the roads in Kuwait?
Yeah.
Tell a little bit about
Okay.
that.
So when we go on our MWR missions, we would come back talk about the ratio. And the ratio was the Ferrari to Lambo ratio. And literally every day you would see which one of each. And so a lot of times we come back and go, yep, 3-2 ratio. I'm like, Ferrari's in, yeah, 3 Ferraris, 2 Lambos. There would be people who literally go, they never left. They would never leave the TOC, the Tactical Operations Center we would report to. They would go, hey, can I ride on one of your missions with you? Yeah. So they'd get off there. I was like, so why did you want to come out here? I want to see the cars. God, seriously, cars. The craziest ones is, again, the Kuwaiti government. If your family goes back, and if your family's true Kuwaiti citizens, not what we call third country nationals, where they've come in from, your Bangladesh or can't say Djibouti without a little bit, right? 50 plus years old, I can't do it. The Philippines, there's 10 countries we would take people from to work on our camp, but they would actually work all of Kuwait. And so 85% of that country wasn't Kuwaiti citizens. The other 15% were given stipends by the government. So they were wealthy.
Yeah.
There was this guy who wrecked his 5 Series BMW. Looked on the sign. He just got up and left. 3 months later, that BMW was still sitting there.
He just put it on the side of the road.
Okay. That's where I learned how to drive a roundabout was in Kuwait, because there's a method to the madness and it works. It's actually better in traffic lights once you figure it out, but they would have 4 or 5 lane roundabouts. So you get in this thing, and the thing was like a half mile long, which you're like, God, this thing's never ending. So
A huge road.
it was a monster. It would have like must inside the roundabouts.
What?
I was like, okay, but you're not allowed to take a picture of that, so I don't have any evidence. So the key element there is if it's 3, 4, 5 lanes, whatever, whoever's on the inside lane, they automatically have the right of way to get out. So if they put their blinker on, you have to yield to them and let them get out. It's the one. Oh my God, I'm turn. We realize, there you go. There's a guy who's another 85. He's from Tennessee. He's a good guy. I'll tell you something, when they would put 2 5s together and they always tell me, hey, you're in charge. So we got ran into in the middle of a roundabout. Okay, just rear into the back of us. I'm like, oh.
Where are you guys driving?
A Toyota Prado. So it says 4Runner on the side, or a Land Cruiser, but it is like the Dollar General version of a Land Cruiser. So it's not exactly the plush leather or nothing. It's fake cloth. There's fake leather, there's cloth, and there's fake cloth. That's what we had. It was rough. This guy bumps into us, and it's a nice car. He just swings right back to us. And we look up and he's just gone. He just takes off. He gets out around the bank. He's gone.
So if they pull over, you call the police, you do a report, you file with your own insurance.
And this 5 is freaking out because he was driving. He goes, oh, God, sorry, what are we going to do? What are we doing? And I'm like, hey, listen, chill, calm down. Think about this. First, did he run into us? Yeah. Is this our SUV? No, I'm renting it. Renting it. That's his BMW, though. He just wrecked. So, Garrett, let's get out of here. Are you hurt? No. All right. Keep driving, man. And it was just that kind of lighting. We would actually have the cameras that would take your picture if you're going to. I'm not going to say it was completely me, but it was pretty much mostly me that turned into a game for all of us to see how many times you can get your picture taken for going too fast. Because I found out that they're not going to send us a ticket. They said to the U.S. Army, the Army goes, all right, thank you. Every time we would go on trips where we had to go on their, it's almost like the Autobahn, really. They're
Because they're on speed limit zone?
Yeah, it said 120 kilometers an hour, which is about 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said, okay, let's just pretend it says MPH. I would literally go 100 miles an hour wherever I go over there. Now, my mom, when she was little, she found out about this, she was not exactly happy. She said, oh, you're in Kuwait. You're sick. And told her 90% of these stories. But at this, yeah, where we go, I go at least 100 miles an hour. And I also didn't tell her, I said, look, we had a standing, it was a joke, really, but I always had a standing rule. Or, hey, if your buddies die by flipping their Toyota Prado like 37 times for going 100 miles an hour, shoot them in the forehead. So it looks like they died with a tragic sniper round. And they're like, sorry, I'm curious. It's a very talented sniper. Okay. It's a very talented sniper. But listen, do you remember we saw the movie Jarheads together?
Yeah.
And they were out there playing football in the Kuwaiti desert in their, what we call mount gear, their chemicals. That's the kind of crap that we do, though. And we never did that, but we always are trying to figure out a way, like, how do I keep this somewhat entertaining? Because we spent a solid year in Kuwait, and we got there in May, and it was 173,000 degrees, and we left in May, and it was back to being 173,000 degrees. For about a month and a half, from about late November into January, maybe February, it rained a lot. And I would sit there and tell people, listen, apparently God spends 2 months a year soaking this place down, and then he spends the next 10 months drying to an absolute crisp. It is so insanely hot. And I recorded, I poured back in with God, 127 degrees every single day. Got to at least 127 for 6 straight months when we were there. And I would call my poor grandmother, and she would ask, is it hot over there? Grandma, because they're keeping you in the dark again, aren't they? Yeah, it gets hot. She goes, we got the 91 here yesterday. I'm thinking, man, I got the 91 here too at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And by the time the sun came up, it was 110. It was just, and we would have to go around our mission again. We're in civilian clothes with a concealed weapon. We were the only group that were given concealed weapons permits for that country, the whole country. Problem is that it starts to sweat and the close stick to you, you're not concealing anything. That 9mm looks like a 9mm. It's either that or a hairdryer stuck to your hip. And what the? Some challenges there, but again, we just try to do things that keep it fun, keep it light. Me and my boy Mike Klein, another guy there is a mutual friend of ours, Kenny, and that's a dump. We were USO escort for Tom Green. Those of you know who Tom Green is. And me and him, we went to pick him up in a hotel, and there was a birthday party, a Kuwaiti kid's birthday party going with Barney in a giant Barney outfit. Mike loses his mind. I'm like, Barney! He's screaming out. I'm like, oh, we're getting kicked out of the hotel because of Barney. Great. But then on the flip side, we're taking Tom Green around all over Kuwait, which is funny because he's pretty hilarious. He's exactly the kind of guy you would expect him to be. He just says whatever comes to his mind. It's so the time it's inappropriate, and the other 50% of the time, but it's still funny regardless. He had to stop at a bombed out village one time. He said, oh, it's really cool. He said, why is it bombed down? I said, well, I'll tell you. Why rebuild it? Because Saddam was still there for years. So why rebuild it just to have him bomb it again? So we pull over there, and he's taking pictures. We're standing there, and all of a sudden some Bedouins had camped out there, started making noise. What's that? And I was like, Bedouins, man. I had to camp out there, and he said, do they have guns? I'm like, oh, man.
What do you call
Bedouins.
Bedouin?
wins.
Bed
So wins.
said to win.
There's going to be some editing involved here, man. So anyway, he says they have guns. I'm like, maybe I probably got something. Let's go. I didn't know that. Like, oh my Lord. He wanted to hold my AR-15, my M16 at the time. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's nuts. To do cool stuff like that too.
Well, the viewers know that you pulled security forward.
But did about an hour security for Bo Jackson. Who, hey, look, don't hold it against me. I like the SEC. I'll just put it out there. I like SEC football. Love it. Bo Jackson, but I don't like Auburn, is a legend. The guy's an icon. And he's also a super nice guy. I mean, he's big and strong and burly, and it looks like he doesn't need security, honestly. But he is a super nice guy. I like it. I'll just stand here and then help you out. Maybe he needs to be a drink, whatever. I don't know if I'm really cool on security as much as you are. Robin Williams temporarily, I didn't get to full security for him, but like Kurt Angle and some others were out there. One of the funniest ones was Rocky Man. Oh my God. Hey, there was like there's actually 5 comedians. The MC was this lady who actually was his girlfriend. Now, we didn't know what Ralphie May looked like. He did an act in the States. We didn't see his there. We didn't know Ralphie May was 418 pounds. He was enormous. But he was so funny. When this lady's out there introducing each act that's coming out, she goes, oh, you get to hear my big guy coming out. My boyfriend, he's a big guy. He comes out, I did not pass the PT test. But I can learn to develop an appreciation for those that are willing to come out there, because it isn't easy. The amount of crap that they have to go through just to get out there, to say, be clear, get their medical stuff done. It's stuff they don't have to do, though. They don't. Now, one of them has to. I remember I saw Collective Soul in concert. They don't have to do that. They came out there. What the crazy lady talked about Djibouti. They had performed a concert in Djibouti before they came to us. And their drummer got sick from the food there. And so the lead singer kept making a joke, like, it cost some in Djibouti. Literally. But again, it's really cool in groups like that, or celebrities or whatever. You don't have to like all the celebrities come out. There's celebrities that came out there and like, you have the time of day, but I still appreciate and respect you coming out there. Stephen Colbert came out there. Stephen Colbert probably agreed on about 5 things in life, but appreciating the troops apparently is one of them. Tom Grant, he makes some really bad movies, but he's hilarious. But I'll tell you what, this guy literally come dinner time, got it through the lines, because all the troops are there. They want to meet Tom Green. They want to see Tom Green. But I'm like, hey, look, I kept having a stiff arm. I'm like, look, what, Mr. Green, get his food in such a way. He said that took about 200 pictures before he ever took a bite of his food. We were pulling into an Air Force base out there. I forget the name of the base, but we pull in, the captain comes up, and I'm driving, and always end up being the driver when there's a celebrity or an escort. Captain comes up, and goes, hey, got a spot over here for Tom Green and over the troops. And he would say, oh, even this captain is a neighbor with, so I didn't always see this. So if you ever see Freddy Got Fingered, you go, okay, that was enough with that. But as we're pulling in, he goes, hey guys, we're talking like a Forrest Gump level. I gotta pee. He said something about Forrest Gump. He said, worse than him. I'm like, okay. So,
after his 16 Dr. Pepper.
It might have been that too. You never knew. This captain comes over and he tells us, I said, sir, Mr. Green's got to pee. Can we make that happen? He goes, yeah, there's facilities at the building I'm going to. Cool. We go park, we walk in there. I always go in first, take the area real quick. He comes in behind me. As soon as he walked in, people lost their ever love of line. It's like a surprise party.
Oh my gosh.
And so he goes, hey, tell your song great. Tap me on, sorry. Dallas. You call her one for Dallas. Yeah. I don't have to pee anymore. I was like, oh my God. I'm like looking at the ground, like, please somebody count for. He goes, I'm just kidding, but that didn't help. I'm like, what are we have to take 5 minutes before I can even talk to someone that didn't take care of things? But he was that guy though that made you go, that's pretty stinking cool. I don't care if I like any of them. Everybody else seems to like him. And he would take pictures. Every picture was like this. Everyone. He probably took about 1,000 pictures, and I'm not even exaggerating. We went to about 6 different camps. Everyone, hundreds of troops. Oh, man.
So let's move on.
Yeah.
So you're deployed in 2003 and into 2004. So from May of 2003 to May of 2004.
The whole thing encompassed about 14 months total because with time before and after.
So you got to go home at Christmas time on R&R.
Oh, that was pretty cool. For those of you who don't know, I have a service dog. This is Miller Valor.
Right.
Yeah, I got to come home on Christmas. We actually did like a lottery system to pick our order time. So the female SEO I mentioned earlier, we kind of agree, which doesn't really care about going on Christmas, but you have a wife and kids, we'll make sure that happens. We had an agreement. Yeah, her number came up first. She was like, "I want Christmas," and gave it to you. And so I had to pick whichever one she wanted, which I don't even remember what that was. That was up, up. All right, there we go.
Two.
Family needs a service dog. All right.
This is the middle there.
There we go.
Okay. So gonna
Still worked out. I got to come home. I was trying to surprise everybody.
puppy number 2.
The only person I got surprised was my daughter. I ended up setting up a mass email. So you knew,
Yeah, I know.
but we're trying to surprise everybody else. And somehow I ended up sending out a mass email to all our friends and family coming home for Christmas. And which my mom got that email, got in touch with you and said, "Hey, what's going on here?" But it was so cool because my daughter had no idea. And it was one of the cool moments, which I'm trying to get back for his hilarious stories too. Both my R&Rs, both my deployments were like a struggle to get back to a battlefield.
Yeah.
My wife. You would think that would make that the easy part and getting home the hard part, but it was literally just the opposite.
So you were home for about 2 weeks and then you go back to Kuwait.
Yeah.
And then you get a phone call.
Yeah. Actually,
Or-
no, I called you.
Called home.
So it was during that rainy season. So it was outside. I had a cell phone with some prepaid minutes, only about 5 minutes left on it. So I called you up and I was like, I can't get over to the talk this show because he is absolutely pouring us muddy, whatever. It's cold. It's cold in Kuwait. It gets cold in Kuwait a little bit. So I called you and I said, "Look, I got a few minutes on this phone. Just wanted to talk to you." And you're like, "Hey." So that thing that happens every month where that didn't happen. Or something along those lines. I'm like,
I get masked.
it was something where I had to guess for a second. I'm like, what?
Let me tell you what happened.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Because we're going to hit that part. So I say to him when he called, I said, "What are you doing in September?" And he was
We there, man.
in January. I was like, "Yeah, what are you doing in September?" He's, "I don't know. I come home today. I don't know."
Yeah. And so apparently I don't remember how the story played out, but I was like, are you serious? I know it sounded so bad. Like looking back on it, 'cause I was like, are you sure?
So I told him
You end up telling me.
that I was pregnant.
I just can't remember how. I don't think you was like, "You're looking moron, I'm pregnant." Sometimes that's how you have to say it to me. But I said, are you sure? You're like, yeah. So I was like, all right, hold on. I hang up the phone, throw my wet weather boots, my wet weather top, and I go trucking over to the talk. I'm like, all right, so how long have we known this? Wow, that's crazy. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Anything about that deployment to Kuwait? Anything else you want to talk about or say before we go on to deployment number 2?
Look, people who will see this that were with me, they know they are. First of the country, I'm blessed that I got to meet all of you and serve with all of you. I got to serve with some great people. Not everybody serve with a great person. Again, they put on uniform just like we did and they're willing to go do it. But I got to work and serve with some great people. I got some friends to this. That deployment, literally, May will be 20. This May will be 20 years I got back from that deployment. I'm still friends with some of those people.
Yeah.
That is a tough reality. It tells me 2 things. A, I'm old. B, time flies, man. Time
Yeah.
it just flies right by. Thank you for all you that I served with. It was a great time.
So before we go on to your second deployment, was the story about the guy who launched the grenade at the airport. Was that in this first one?
Yeah, that was the first.
That was the first one? Okay, so before we get to the second one, why don't you tell that story? Are you allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, it seemed like half the country knew about it. No secret there. Okay, it's a funny story, right? I was slated to go on a mission on Iraq, and they told me the night before, literally 100 for us military folk and 10 p.m. for the civilian types. Hey, your part of the mission got scrubbed, so you're off tomorrow. Just take the day off. And I was like, all right, sounds good, whatever. At 6 a.m., about the time that I was supposed to be on this mission, I hear this very distinct. I'm like, I know what that is. That's grenades going in. I didn't know that because I know the gun it came out of. Now I'm a little nervous. Because you hear that, you're like, are we shooting at, or are we being shot at? You know, I mean, here's how Dallas does things. I walk outside. I did this in my second deployment too. If I hear an explosion, I'll walk outside my quarters, my tent, my shoe, whatever I'm at. It was a tent at that time. I walk out. If I see people scurrying and running, I need to get my gear, scurry and run too. If no one's scurrying and running, I'm going back. It's 3 at 6 a.m. I look out. Going back to bed. All right, so fast forward a little bit, I wake up at about crack of 8. I go take a shower. I'm just in total casual mode right now. About 9-ish, I go up to the tie. I'm in cities. A pair of shorts and a t-shirt. I go up to our tie. Again, see what's going on. Because again, that mission, I had some other friends on that mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, everybody's scurrying in here. What's going on? They're like, the airplane. I heard something at 6 a.m. that sounded shockingly like 2 grenades. I'm like, yeah, the Mark 19 is a grenade launching machine gun. It's a dual missiles launcher. It's fun. Let's just
Sounds pretty cool.
It's amazing. Not practical in the city, but it's still pretty cool.
Is it practical in the backyard?
You damn right it is. Depends on how many weird neighbors you get. I don't know, but I'm not trying to blow my neighbors. I'll get it out. So this dude that's sitting, he's in a turret with his Mark 19. The way you have to load this gun, you put the rounds in, charge it, and pull the trigger. And then you charge it again and you put it on safe. Because the next time you pull the trigger, it is sending out itself with some bad intention. He forgot where he was in that process. They start to ride over, and they're like, all right, load up. He hits that butterfly, the butterfly trigger. 2 rounds right at the Kuwait International Airport. No. Is a Kuwait International Airport all Kuwaiti citizens? Nope. That is where we would send people home on R&R. We'd send them from there. There's a jet pulling up with about 140 U.S. troops. Oh my. And these grenades went, it wasn't super close, but about 100 yards away from this jet. It's probably closer than those troops wanted it to be. What pissed those troops off is the fact they had to wait for 3 hours for them to fix they had to sit on that plane for 3 hours and wait for them to fix the runway. Because you're going home now. We're going to get you out.
Oh my gosh.
Or
it blew holes in the runway.
Yeah. And actually, I think they ended up rerouting them, but they were on there for a while.
So what kind of hole does that blow?
It's a grenade, so I'm probably going to get about a meter hole. 5 meters, 16, 18 feet.
Okay, thank you.
In American, was that?
Plan American.
Yeah.
In America.
Translate that for me. Yeah. The crazy things. Oh, it's a good size plane. It was 2-0. So it didn't matter. And hey, listen, props on him for the double tap. I'm supposed to put him out 2 at a time, but he probably didn't want to send out 1 at a time. He wanted to do it 0 times. So there's a reference there. Anyway, I get to the talk, and literally our guys are talking back to the Pentagon. We're a lot of old reserve MP, but talking to the Pentagon. Having to explain why one of our people in our battalion, not in my unit. No, I was being attached with a different unit. But the crappiest stuff happens after that. Once you figure, okay, everybody's okay, everybody's good, chips got wrong, no one's hurt. Now the whole battalion has new training on the Mark 19. No, look, I don't mind training on a weapon as long as I get to pull the trigger. I didn't get to pull the trigger. I didn't get to pull the trigger with something coming out. Dink. Yeah, it's sucks. Oh, it's stupid. It's dumb. So yeah, that was that.
That one, yeah.
Oh my God. It wasn't just that tour. We actually, and it was my unit on the second tour, which again, I'm coming for you guys on this. It's always someone that causes the whole battalion to have to do some dumb training. That's how they punish 1,100 people at one time.